Hi everyone, and welcome to our fantastic webinar today. I'm sure that got us all up and dancing. And I think the most exciting thing for us today is we have got a very, very special guest joining us today, and it's Thaybz from Cruise International. Welcome, Thaybz. It's so nice to have you with us today. And we are going to be discussing Royal Caribbean. So exciting times ahead. And the reason we've got Thaybz on board is that we are going to be working very closely together. So going forward, just a reminder that any Royal Caribbean bookings can be made through DP or through Cruise International. So exciting times ahead. So Thaybz, we're going to go on and chat a little bit about Royal Caribbean. And I think the most important thing is really to talk about sort of the premium brand and the premium value, because Royal stands exceptionally out there as a really brilliant brand. Do you want to just sort of highlight that a bit?
Absolutely. So just again, thank you, Shelly, for having me on today. I'm so excited to be talking about Royal Caribbean. I mean, amidst all the COVID and, you know, at least we're talking about something exciting and fun and really looking forward to it. So thank you for that. And thank you for allowing me to join you guys. Yeah, and to quickly jump into it, I think premium brand equals premium value sums up what Royal Caribbean is all about. We know that Royal Caribbean is a brand that once you get on it, it's almost going to be like, okay, once a Royal Cruiser, always a Royal Cruiser. We do know that Royal Caribbean is not the cheapest brand in terms of the contemporary market or within its a competition, but there's reasons for that, and that is why we position it as a premium brand that gives off premium value. Yeah, I think to sum up the Royal Caribbean experience, in my opinion, is I like to call it experiential innovation. And that's because everything from gastronomy to accommodation to onboard activities, even as far as their own private island is concerned, in terms, so I would like to say including destination, Royal Caribbean really encompasses an all-inclusive wow element from that. I mean, if you look at the Oasis class, they've got the Central Park on board. From a dining experience, you've got Wonderland and the Bionic Bar. These are first at seas that you haven't really seen on any other ships. And this is why we coined the term premium brand and premium value. And this is why I like to say it's experiential innovation. So another thing that's important that I'd like to also just as a reminder is that on Royal Caribbean ships, we've got Voom, which is the fastest internet at sea. So, you know, it really goes from everything, like from the time you step on board, tell your entire experience of the cruise, you really come off thinking, wow. And I think Royal Caribbean translate that across the board. So
absolutely. And I think, Thaybz, if you looked at, I mean, the video for me just summed it up exactly what you're speaking about. It's just wow. It's out there, it's in your face, it gives you everything that you kind of expect from a cruise line. So
I know, just watching the video just made me, I mean, I talk Royal Caribbean all day, every day, but even after watching that video, I just feel energized all over again. Like, when can I get onto my next Royal cruise?
I think we all feel like that, hey? It's
I
like
know.
a little step, a little hop in our step. So,
the borders, please open.
absolutely. Can we talk about just a few of the sailings that has been suspended? I think it's important just to update the trade so we all know where we're at.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's part of the global pandemic. We all know that the CDC has really put a stop sale to all our brands in the cruising industry, and unfortunately, the cruising industry has been one of the most difficult hit with the COVID pandemic. And Royal Caribbean announced that they were originally meant to have this suspension until the end of September, but last week we got an announcement to say that it would be until the end of October. So the remainder of the 2020 season and the fall and transatlantic sailings will all be unfortunately suspended. Australia is meant to be suspended until the 30th of September and China until mid-September. So, but all things said, Shelly, and to be very honest with you, I think that I don't foresee Royal Caribbean coming back into the waters before the 1st of November. I do think that if they do decide to start sailing, it would definitely be with China, possibly the Caribbean and maybe Australia. But for now, it seems the rest of our itineraries are unfortunately suspended until the 31st of October. Yeah.
But of course, we can always look forward to next year. So hopefully agents are able to start doing quotes and that.
I think everybody's, I think 2021 is going to be the cruising
year. It's going to be a biggie. Hey?
year.
Yeah, we better put it out there for us.
I know.
And then Thaybz, could you just give a few options that are on offer for clients with the fact of cruising being cancelled, or what they can do going forward?
Yeah, so there's two options. I mean, with the global suspension, and this is where the cruise line has obviously cancelled the sailings, clients have, or agents have, three options to offer their clients. It's a lift and shift is the first one. And this is basically where clients have the opportunity to move their cruise that they had booked this year into next year. There's obviously a few T's and C's and a little bit of fine print around it, but in a nutshell, that's what the lift and shift is, literally lifting your cruise from this year and moving it into next year. The second one is a future cruise credit. So if clients prefer not to tie themselves into an itinerary or a cruise or anything just yet, they'll get a future cruise credit. And because the cruise line has suspended the sailing, it will be 125% valued. And if clients decide, okay, they do not want to do the lift and shift, and they don't want the future cruise credit, then they can they forego that, and then they get 100% refund on the option. So there's a little bit of flexibility around what clients want. It also gives them a little bit of time to think about their future planning. And I think in this pandemic time, or this COVID period, I think flexibility is so important. And I think Royal Caribbean, with the options that they offer to their clients, does bring that flexibility to the table. So under the global suspension, for clients that have been affected, these are the options that they will have.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, you've made it very clear and concise for us, which I think is great, because clarity is an important thing, sort of going forward.
And then I think there's no time like now, there's no time like the present to also start talking about 2021 and what's available. So the next thing that we have is the Cruise with Confidence, and that's for future bookings, or future for clients that want to do future bookings, or currently have a booking maybe for November or December and you're not sure. The Cruise with Confidence really gives the clients that flexibility to book your cruise or secure your cruise, and know that in the event of any cancellations, you will be covered. So the Cruise with Confidence is a little bit different to the global suspension offer. The Cruise with Confidence basically has three options where clients get the best price, best offer. So if you have booked a sailing for 2021, for example, if we've booked a cruise now for 2021 and the pricing changes or the promotion changes, clients have up to 48 hours before sailing to actually request the cruise line to honor that pricing and promotion. So you know that you're not booking early and the price drops and you're not going to get that saving and that sort of thing. So again, that flexibility really comes through. And the second option that they have under the Cruise with Confidence is if they've booked a cruise and they decide, okay, I really don't want to go forward with my travel, they have up to 48 hours before to cancel their sailing. And they'll receive a future cruise credit for 100% of the monies paid towards their cruise. So again, up to 48 hours before, you still can say, you know what, I think it's going to be safer for me to be at home, or whatever it is, and you'll still be covered. And then you have the same cruise, same price. This is again like a lift and shift thing again, where clients can move the cruise that they currently have booked into next year and hold the same itinerary and that sort of thing. So again, there's so much of flexibility around what clients can do with their cruise, what agents can offer their clients, what they're cruising and what their options, that there's no time like now to encourage your agents and your clients to secure their
commit. Exactly. And I think it's just really offering peace of mind, you know, that because we don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But at least if you've committed to that, you can move it. But, you know, you've got that commitment, which I think is fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then Thaybz, can you give us an update on the health and safety protocols?
Yeah, so very quickly, I think, Royal Caribbean hasn't officially announced any protocols to say this is how we're going to be moving forward. But in the background, what we do know is that Royal Caribbean and NCL together are moving globally, working for the global cruise industry in order to put together the health and safety protocols that will be rolled out for the entire industry, cruising industry. Okay. So we haven't had any, they've been very tight-lipped about it. We haven't had any indications of, what this could be. But from my engaging with the cruise line and things that I have heard, I can say to you that it's, again, innovation is going to be at the forefront. There's definitely going to be things that we haven't really seen on board a ship, or in anything else in the travel industry, because I think the cruise industry will set themselves apart. The one thing I do know that is a key goal for the Royal Caribbean panel, or the health and safety panel that is currently working on the protocols, is that they do not want your cruise experience to be something like walking in a hospital. Because they're really going to try and work around everyone walking around with face masks and, standing one point. I think social distancing and all of that will definitely be encompassed in the entire, in the protocols. But they also don't want to take away from the fact that this is a cruise, this is a holiday. And I think that's the main thing that's driving the discussions around how can we make sure our guests still feel the royal experience or the cruising experience without taking away from the entire thing. So yeah, I think in that sense we're going to see a little bit more. I do have an indication that there should be something coming out by September. Okay. Or the initial announcement from the health and safety panel that is working with the Royal Caribbean and NCL to put this together should come around by September. But yeah, we cross fingers and we just hope so. Yes. Because it's so volatile, it changes all the time. So let's hope that they stick to their timeline.
Exactly. And you're quite right in saying, what are people expecting from a cruise? I imagine there's a lot of work going into that, where cruise liners really have to still have the cruise experience, but yet you need to know that you're safe.
I know, it's such a fine balance, hey, and it's such a fine balance. I wouldn't want to be, taking
the person putting it together, hey.
Yes.
Really want to look at it.
And then I think one of the things, and then the next thing on the slide we have is deployment and load factor, and I think it's going to be an ease into cruising. I think deployment is for 2021 is on Espresso, whatever itineraries are there, it's still going to be going ahead, and for now, and there's no talk of anything necessarily changing, but it also depends on the destinations and what rules they have in it. But for now, the deployment for 2021 seems to be solid, and seems to be that's what we can expect for cruising for next year. We've got really great ships in the Med next year. We've got Harmony of the Seas, we've got the new Odyssey of the Seas. Wow. So there's a lot to look forward to for 2021. In terms of our load factor, obviously, to align with COVID restrictions and the social distancing and everything that we would need to have on board the ships, it wouldn't be 100% occupancy. So I do anticipate that we would see fewer inside and ocean view cabins and a lot more on the balcony and above.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it would be a gradual return to service. I don't think that we'll go all 26 ships into service at one point. I think we'll slowly start either by destination or maybe one ship per destination. But, you know, this is just to keep in mind. So if you have anyone interested, or if you have clients that really want to cruise, now would be the time to actually start engaging with them to say, let's reserve the space before you have the cruise with confidence. You have the global suspension. So in the event of any changes, you will be covered. Because the worst thing is to have your future cruise credit and not be able to redeem it because of no availability. And I think that's going to be, I think availability is going to be restricted for 2021, or at least for the beginning of the season. So,
that's a good point.
I really encourage everyone to start here.
Correct. And then your e-muster, I'm so excited about that. It just sounds something so different.
I know. I was so excited when they announced it. I was like, yes, because I think the muster drill was one of the most tedious tasks that you had to go and do on board the ships. But so the e-muster, we've just actually released, Royal Caribbean released it earlier this week. The e-muster eliminates the traditional group assemblies where everybody goes to their muster station and that sort of thing. So it's basically guests will get the information via the mobile app and the interactive stateroom TVs. And in a nutshell, that's basically it. I think there'll be more information released on how it works and that, but this is something that I think is the first step towards, although Royal Caribbean did test the e-muster even pre-COVID. So they allowed it on one of their ships, but I think COVID just accelerated the introduction of e-muster for the rest of the ships. So, you know, this is the type of innovation and stuff that we can be expecting. Yeah,
excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, exciting times. And of course, exciting to have a relationship again with you guys. And I think it's just wonderful. And yes, Thaybz, I really want to thank you for your time today. It's been really great having you on. And we'll, you know, going forward, chat and see. So just to remind everyone that, you know, we're working very closely with Cruises International. And I'm going to now talk a little bit about a cruise I went on, which is really exciting. Thanks, Thaybz.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelly, and thanks to everybody who's attended.
Okay, so if you do have any questions for Thaybz, she is still in the background, you can just go onto the chat and Thaybz will answer them from there. So what I wanted to talk about was a cruise I did about 4 years ago, which was a Royal Caribbean, and I did it to Oman, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, which is really exciting because I think it's a great place to still represent in the point of it's easy to get to, it's one flight, you know, there's no connections, etc., etc. So points I just want to highlight with Abu Dhabi is when you are sailing out of Abu Dhabi, it's very important for you to know for your clients that your harbour does not open, it's not open the whole day. They only open at the time of embarkation for ships. So what we did with Royal is we actually did a hotel stop on the way for breakfast, and you do your whole check-in and everything there. So when you get to the harbour, you literally go on board. You don't then have to stand in big long queues to check in. So that's a really nice point just to remember going forward, you know, should you have passengers going on a ship that departs from Dubai. And if we look at Royal, so I did go on an older ship, but still having said that, you do not have to worry about what you're offering when you sell a Royal Caribbean. So we all know about the Harmony of the Seas and the Odyssey, which are just magnificently huge. My ship was smaller, but still you could not fault the entertainment, the actual ship itself, the food was spectacular, the service, the entertainment. There was just so much fun. There was no moment when you didn't know what you could do. A lot of it being included from an entertainment point of view, but I think the big thing that I just want to highlight is drinks packages. So I never took a drinks package for Royal Caribbean, and what I always want to say from a drinks package is don't be scared to recommend it to a passenger. You know, people often say to you, but I don't drink a lot, and it's not really about that. What it's about is the fact that you must always think about a day on a ship, on a holiday or a resort, wherever you are, and say to yourself, do I have, for instance, 2 cappuccinos at breakfast? So that's already $10 because they're $5 each, as an example. And then add up a Coke and a sparkling water. So you go off the ship, you know, in the morning for a little excursion, you're thirsty when you come back, someone's sitting on the deck having a cocktail of the day. And you start adding these things up, and by the end of the day, you've actually spent $100 without you even realizing. So I highly recommend taking drinks packages. And, you know, if it's an opportunity for someone who enjoys a couple of cocktails and that, it's still going to be value for money. Right, and then I just want to quickly chat. So if you look at, so from our cruise, we obviously went on to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Oman. From a dress code point of view, I think Oman was probably the oldest type of city that I visited. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and you've got to be respectful from a dress code. But Oman was just the highlight of my trip. And what I just want to say with Oman is, for a photographic paradise, people who love doors and that kind of architecture, it's just another place to really go. And yes, Lamenche, you were with me, I see that, and we had such a stunning time. So, you know, look at these beautiful buildings. It's old, it's so rich in culture, and the markets are really out of this world. But the one thing I have to highlight that you have to do if you go on a cruise that covers Oman is to go to the dolphin breeding site. So we took a junk, which looks like this, and the great thing about it is you've actually got a carpet on the bottom with a whole lot of cushions. You sit on the cushions and they serve you lunch on board and they serve you drinks. But you actually go out to a natural dolphin breeding site. And these dolphins are completely wild. There's no human interaction. And the amazing thing that we sort of picked up was these dolphins here, the one male was so, he was such a show off that every time a boat came past, he sort of did this whole big show, you know, swimming up and down in that. But it's just amazing to be in an area that's so natural. And you can also swim, not where the dolphins are, they do take you out to a further area to swim, but just really stunning. So I really want to highlight that as something different. You know, when you go cruising, you want to know what little special things are offered at various destinations. And then, of course, Abu Dhabi's got Ferrari World, so, you know, we can talk about a lot of exceptional things that each city offers. But I just think if you ever go to Oman, please make sure that you do take an excursion and you go out to the dolphin breeding site. Thanks, Rolls. I don't know if there's another slide. I think that's the end of mine. And now I'm going to welcome Chantal Gouws, who's from FCA. So we're just getting on with the camera.
Hello.
Hi.
No. Hello.
Hello, where's your camera?
No, we've left the camera off. I've got technical difficulties today.
Well, you can see Chantal in the picture anyway. So welcome, Sean. Sean's is a very, very dear friend of mine and of Development Promotions. And we're so excited to have you here today. And we thought what we'll talk about today is Chantal went on holiday with her family. So it's a completely different experience to what I had. So Sean's, great to have you with us. And I just wanted to ask you, which cruise did you do, or which area when you did your Royal?
So we did Royal Caribbean, and we left from Venice, and we did the Greek islands. So yeah, we did it in June. It was in June, so it was a great time of year to do it. And obviously, yeah, the Greek islands being as spectacular as it was one of the older ships. I think it was Explorer of the Seas that we did. So it was one of the older ships, but it didn't really matter because we were, you know, we went for more for the experience than the actual ship. I know some people rather choose the ship than the destination, and that was the destination we wanted to do.
Brilliant. And Shantz, what did, from a family point of view, because you obviously took your 3 kids with you, how did you feel Royal fitted into that? Is it, you know, is that why you chose Royal, because it's family friendly? What is your sort of feeling on Royal for that? Yeah,
so it wasn't just my 3 kids, it was also my nieces and nephews, so there were actually 7 in total. Oh, wow. From the age of 1.5 up till 12, so we had a variety of ages, and for us it was phenomenal. We were a bit nervous at first, especially with the younger kids, but honestly we had nothing to worry about. From the time we checked in, I won't lie, that Venice port is something you could write a story about. There's just millions and millions of people all trying to catch their suitcases, getting on a bus and then getting on a tram, then walking. So that was quite a challenge. But once we were on, it was absolutely fine. I mean, as we got onto the ship, the Ocean Club was there already, giving us guidance on how, you know, where you can check the kids into. Obviously, I was the first one there to check mine into. And yeah, they had an absolute ball. Look, the kids, the Ocean Club, what they call it, it's not open all the time. So you've just got to manage your time according to when they open. And my kids didn't really go during the day. They wanted to be with us. And obviously we were off the boat during the day, and the days at sea, we were swimming and in the jacuzzi and that. But what I loved about the Ocean Club was for the evenings. My nephew was too young for the Ocean Club, so he had to go into the baby club. So you had to pay fee for it. Well, the first few hours was free, and then you had to pay a fee for it, but it was well worth it. And they gave you like a walkie-talkie, so if they needed to get hold of you, they could get hold of you.
Wow.
The only thing with the kids club is kids have to be potty trained, and they have to be over the age of 3. Now, my son Luca was turning 3 on the 7th of July, and we were on the boat on the 29th of June. And it was a little bit of a push and go to try and get him in there. But anyway, they agreed to it. And thankfully he was potty trained. So it was amazing. And for us, the evenings were important because we wanted to go and watch the shows and have a nice dinner in the dining room. So it was just nice that even the older kids, the girls who were, 12, 10, 9 and 8, they didn't even want to come to the dining room. They just wanted to go and eat in the windjammer and then go across and do the activities inside the kids club. And then it closes at 10 or 11, and you go and fetch them. If you want to keep them in there longer, you can, but it's just at a fee. But generally by that time of the day, everyone was ready to go to bed anyway.
Okay. And I think that's what's so great for kids, is that there's no, worry about your children, and no sort of lack of entertainment and being looked after, from a role point of view.
Exactly. Yeah. The one thing you do need to remember, though, is with the swimming pools, again, if they're not potty trained, they're actually not allowed in the swimming pools.
Okay.
One thing I didn't know about, and they don't let you wear swimming nappies either. So for my younger nephew, it was a bit of a sneaky snorkel, and every time the guards looked sideways, we would quickly have a dip in the swimming pool with him. But it was fun. I mean, it worked fine. There is a little section that they can swim in. So it worked out perfectly. I know on the bigger ships, they actually have a smaller kids swimming pool, which is nice.
Oh, good. And Shant, what kind of accommodation did you take? My Royal Caribbean, I had an inside cabin, but obviously it was me just sharing with someone, so it wasn't a problem. Do you find, was it suitable, the room you took or the cabin you took, and how did you sort of find it?
Well, look, as I was paying, yes, I also had to go with an inside cabin. Because it's not cheap, but it was worth it, and it was absolutely fine. We just took the cabin for 4, and then my son slept with my mom in her cabin.
Okay.
So it was just like, it was perfect. You're hardly in the cabin. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's a double bed, and then the 2 bunk beds pulled down in the evening, and the kids absolutely loved it. It was a novelty for them. So the cabins were fine. They were spacious. They were clean. When I say spacious, I mean you could barely swing a cat, but that was fine. You didn't have to, because you were hardly in there.
Yes, absolutely. And I think if sort of looking at it, I would imagine like a balcony cabin's really nice if it's just a couple going on a cruise, by themselves, where they want to have a little bit of time by themselves.
Absolutely. Look, I couldn't justify spending the difference for the 5 of us. It was too much. But as I say, I'd rather just spend the extra on the excursions and things like that, and the drinks package, because you, as I say, you're hardly in the cabin, and especially with the kids, you're literally not in there. You're out all day. Day. And also there's not a lot of sailing days, so I think there's only, on our boat, I think there was only 1 or 2 days that were actually sailing, so the rest of the time you were off the boat anyway in the different ports.
100%. And from a point of view of food and that, where the kids find that they have, I know I went to the Windjammers one on mine, and obviously the seated dinner, but there's certainly, you're spoiled for choice on how much food
you're completely spoiled for choice. We did the nighttime dining, so you could dine any time in the evening, which was great. And then, for breakfast and lunch, we just did the Windjammer. There's such a variety of food there. It's ridiculous. You can eat until your heart's content. They'd run out of absolutely nothing. So the food was spectacular. It was world class. The quality, the presentation, absolutely everything. It was phenomenal, and you never went hungry. It didn't matter what time of day or night it was. We didn't get the drinks package, but we got the soda package, so that was great. At absolutely any time and just fill up the bottles with soda at any stage. The ice creams are obviously included, so all we did all day was eat ice creams. So it was really, really great.
And I do think that's a good point from a soda package point of view. I mentioned on my little chat before you joined, is that a drinks package, I highly recommend it, but for kids, and that at least there is a soda package, and if they're a bit older, they can take a soda package and drink as much as they like.
And we actually just got 2 soda. We didn't get a soda package per person. We just got 2 for family, and it worked out perfectly.
Okay, brilliant. Well, that's such a good view of looking at it from a completely different point of view. As I said, mine wasn't with kids, yours was with kids, and I think it's great to know that Royal does actually fit into every type of client out there. So, Thaybz, thank you for joining us. That was really amazing to have your input and your side of the story. And I'm just going to go on to a little pleasure and a little nugget of knowledge. And I think my nugget of knowledge, just to highlight again, is please don't forget that you can now book Royal Caribbean through Development Promotions or through Cruise International. We work very closely together, and that's a great thing. So I'm going to go on to my little cooking. Oh, just hold on. Sorry, there's someone at the door. I just need to see who's here. Hey, look, I have to go, guys, because my date just arrived, and they're all the way from Dubai. Okay, so on a serious note, because I'm sure you're all collapsing laughing, is that what is Shelly going to cook today? Well, I'm not going to cook because, as you can see, I'm actually going out on a date now. So I am going to send you a really great recipe for a sweet and sour margarita, which is very, very famous on Royal Caribbean ships. So Roland will put that into our little pack for you tomorrow, and you will be able to make it. So thank you again for your wonderful, wonderful time joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week again. Take care, everyone.